Qantas has released its underlying loss, $1.9 billion. Let's bring in Ed Boyd now, who's crunching through all of the detail. Ed, we had Evan Lucas on the program forecasting that the news was not going to be good for Qantas today. So how does it stack up in your view after, as I said, going through all that detail?
Yeah, Pete, look, this has sort of come in as analysts expected with a pretty big loss here for Qantas. It's as everyone was expecting. When planes aren't flying as much and there's serious problems with travel and customers and not being on time, your finances are going to take a bit of a hit. So we got the numbers we can put up on the screen. There was some good news for Qantas. Revenue was up significantly as flights started to come back. That was up almost a bit over 50%. So revenue was about $9.1 billion. But underlying loss for Qantas, that's the figure that the chief executive Alan Joyce wants us to look at, was down by $1.9 billion. Statutory loss about $860 million. That takes into account the sale of a big block of land around Mascot Airport. But overall, the group's flying levels for the year averaged about 33% of pre-pandemic levels, but finished the year, so around June 30, at 68%. So airlines, they're starting to pick up again. Yeah. In the results today, Qantas do talk about how many planes were on time. They say at the start of the year, it was 52% in July, planes were on time, so not great, but that increased to 66% in August, and they're expecting more planes to be at 75% by September and 80% in October later this year. So they say they're starting to get a handle on all the congestion at airports around the world, and they're starting to improve that. But obviously, it's been tough for customers and for Qantas for the last 12 months.
Yeah, and so that's how they're going to spin it today, isn't it, Ed? I mean, obviously they did take such a hit. They needed a lot of government help during the pandemic, as so many other businesses did. So it is going to take time before it gets back into the black.
Yeah, it definitely will. They say they're on a path of a strong recovery, but in the results so far from what I've read, it doesn't actually say when they're expecting to return to profit. So I think they've had about 3 losses in a row, quite large losses. They've been paying down their debt, though, over the last sort of year or so. Debt levels are now at around $4 billion, which is apparently below the target range. They do have a little bit of an outlook statement at the end, which talks about how capacity is continuing to pick up on all their airlines, and by the end of 2023, they're expecting first half of 2023, domestic capacity will be at 95% of pre-COVID levels. So that's between now and December this year. And then the second half of 2023, which is the next 6 months, first 6 months of next year, 106% capacity of pre-COVID levels for domestic airlines. And then international business there is still taking longer to recover. So in the second half of next year, they're expecting 84% pre-COVID levels. So slowly getting back on track, but it is going to be a long recovery. And it's not just Qantas, it's all the airlines across Australia. Rex reported a pretty big loss yesterday as well. And Virgin, they're obviously a private business by Bain Capital, but surely they're going through exactly the same pain. Yeah,
so do you expect a hit to the Qantas share price today, Ed, or do you think this has been baked in?
I think this has been baked in, Pete. A lot of analysts were expecting a loss of about $1.2 billion, and there's 3 different losses on Qantas's numbers today, and one of them is that $1.2 billion loss that analysts were expecting. So I think the share price reaction shouldn't be too big.
Okay. Ed Boyd across the detail. As always, thanks for your reporting, Ed. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Pete.